Chief Michael Ozekhome, SAN, is still with us in the studio. Well, Chief, just before we went on that break, you were making your point about Mr. Hamid Ali, who was asked to appear before the Senate in uniform.
Yes. I said the Senate has the powers under sections 88 and 89 to summon him as a public officer. And other sections 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the SEMA up to Rule 31 made pursuant to those sections. Hamid Ali is the Comptroller General of Customs. He's not a sole administrator like SOG Ango in 1994. Even also SOG Ango in 1994, who was a sole administrator, who was always in full military uniform and occasionally in custom uniform for ceremonial times. General Hanania, as Corps Marshal of the Road Safety Corps, was always adorning his uniform. Colonel Kere was the sergeant at arms at the National Assembly. He was always wearing his sergeant at arms uniform. So, Chidoka was a civilian. When he came there, he was wearing the uniform of the FRCA. Rory Bode George was wearing the uniform. But when you continue to tell public servants to defy the institution of the Senate, maybe because you do not like the faces of some people there, you are destroying democracy. You are destroying the very fabric of our democratic precepts, and that is to be avoided. Now, he talked about the case.
Chief, just before we move on, I have to ask you a question on that one. Are you saying then that the Senate can stipulate how someone should appear before them?
I am saying the Senate has the power to tell somebody to protect the law under which you were appointed.
Because he said his response was that there was no law.
But I've just cited laws.
No, you cited examples of people who wore uniforms.
Maybe you were not listening.
Not the law.
I have cited laws. I said from sections 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the Customs and Excise Management Act, the Comptroller General is the head of the Nigerian Customs. And Rule 31 prescribes that all the customs officers must wear uniform. Hamid Ali, by virtue of his posting, not as a sole administrator, but as Comptroller General, is the numero uno, the #1 custom officer, who should first wear the custom uniform to symbolize authority and difference from all other government agencies. And they are even quasi-military because they carry arms and ammunition. I've cited the laws. And I've told you that under sections 88 and 89, the National Assembly has the power to tell him, obey the laws under which you were appointed. If he were appointed as a sole administrator, that's a different thing. But he's the Comptroller General of Customs. And people come saluting him, his deputies, his assistants, controllers of customs, when he's wearing Babariga or Buba and Sokoto. That itself is even immoral, apart from being illegal. So the legal status is that the Senate can tell him to obey the laws under which he was appointed. People talk about Section 171. I've heard him talk about Femi Falana talk about Section 171 of the Constitution. Certain officers are specifically mentioned there. The head of service, the secretary to the government of the Federation, heads of MDAs, and personal staff of Mr. President. None of which was the chairman of EFCC mentioned. The reason is that the 1999 Constitution did not envisage the EFCC Act coming into operation in 2003, 4 years later. So what is to guide us? There's a law. And what is the law? It is the EFCC Act itself. And what does it say? It says under Section 2, Subsection 3, that there shall be an executive chairman who shall be appointed by the president, subject, hear that word, subject to confirmation by the Senate. Subject means without the confirmation of the Senate, you cannot be there. And acting capacity is a stopgap temporary measure for you to get the substantive position. And the substantive position is executive chairman. And who can confirm that? The Senate. And the Senate says, for various reasons, we are not confirming you. Starting from 1789, when Dearborn was rejected by the Senate in America because we tailor our presidential system of government after America, the Senate has always rejected up to 13 ministerial nominees of various presidents and about 29 judges. And once they reject, the president withdraws. On one occasion, one president, I think it was Woodrow Wilson, nominated one person 3 times in one day. And the Senate rejected him 3 times in one day. And when he did that, the president quietly took away that name without making fuss. Heavens did not fall. Our own Debo Adegbile was nominated by Obama only in February last year under the new Senate rules to head the Human Rights Committee, a special department created. And the Senate rejected him. Obama was so angry. I said, why are you rejecting this young man? He's so brilliant, 47 years old. He has done this and that. But after that, he did not do any other thing. He kept quiet, withdrew the name, and put another name. Usually, when a name is rejected, what the president does, because he has his own function, under the doctrine of separation of powers, theorized by great philosophers of yore, John Locke, Plato, Thomas Hobbes, Aristotle, and popularized by Baron de Montesquieu, a great French philosopher in 1748. Every arm of government has its own role. So when the Senate has said, no, we do not want this man, he's not qualified, the president should quietly withdraw that name and substitute another name. You cannot force the Senate and say, you must take this person. That will be interfering in the presence of another arm of government.